Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 14th August of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for this evening. Today we are going to talk about Monster Hunter World, which is apparently being not outright banned in China, but its sales have been suspended, at least for this very moment. So this is a really weird set of events that happened recently, as the PC version of Monster Hunter World has been pulled off of all storefront due to regulatory complaints. So as you might know, this game, Monster Hunter World, released this week on PC, and it has reported over 1 million pre-orders in China alone through the digital storefront WeGame. But the storefront WeGame has been forced to suspend sales and remove the game from users' libraries. At the moment, we do not have any official statement saying why exactly this happened, or any sort of statement from WeGame when we can expect Monster Hunter World to return to China. But there have been a lot of speculations why exactly this happened. But the gist of it is because Monster Hunter World on PC does not have full government approval. This is done through the Chinese government's State Administration of Radio and Television Regulatory Body, and this body never approved the game. And the situation is really weird. This body hasn't technically been approving any games since March, for a pretty simple and understandable reason. And the reason is that they had some changes done. More specifically, it was remade to better evaluate online activity, and that process has still not been finished. And Monster Hunter World being one of the bigger games, and the PC version's online capabilities are probably the reasons why the game is being suspended. While speculations have shown up and saying that things like loyal Valve Steam fans are registering complaints in effort to harm WeGame because it is exclusive to WeGame in China. You cannot buy Monster Hunter World in China on Steam. You have to use the WeGame platform, which is owned by Tencent. And as we know, Tencent plans to launch the WeGame platform for the whole world probably somewhat next year. We don't have an exact date on that either. We talked about that a few weeks ago. So maybe it's Steam fans complaining about this? I doubt that. It seems weird to me. Another one that is actually more probable, in my opinion, is that this may be done by Chinese Steam's business part of Perfect World, where they're doing some kind of business/politics, or no, business politics is the word I'm looking for, maneuvering, trying to lower the market share of WeGame so they can get bigger share themselves, making WeGame seem unreliable if they have a game and they have to pull it out, especially if they also have to pull it out of users' libraries. And probably the weakest of the speculations has been that because Monster Hunter World is a game that comes from Japan, and we all know the history between Japan and China, just think back to World War II. Japan tried to essentially invade China and did that actually pretty successfully, and they were as bad as Nazis, let's face it. And thus, maybe the Chinese government is trying to, quote-unquote, lessen the cultural impact of Japan in China, though I really doubt that to be the case. But whatever the reason is, the end result is you cannot buy Monster Hunter World now if you are in China. And if you already had it in its library and you maybe even played it a bit, it is not available to you. And that will probably not change in any foreseeable future. Not like in anything short term. Hopefully we will get some more information about this fairly soon. My own personal guess is that it is most likely just Valve's business partners, Perfect World, trying to make Wii Game appear as an unreliable source of games to better their position on the Chinese market, and that is just a part of business wars. Let's face that. It's a part that I personally don't like, especially since it involves abusing government power to do your bidding, essentially. It's what lobbyists do, and I fucking hate lobbyists. But there's not much we can do about it here in the West. If it was something that was happening here in the West, we could like try to run some sort of consumer campaign. But because it's happening in China, a pretty authoritarian regime, that is the weirdest regime ever to exist, because it's capitalist communism. Probably is the best definition of that, and that, I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but let's face it, that's the case. We will have to see how this develops, but I'm going to assume that for a significant time in gaming time, that means at least a few months, Monster Hunter World will probably face some problems in China. It will be a game that will be only available to pirates. It will not be available through any sort of official means. And that is not only hurting Tencent, it's not only hurting their platform Wii Game, but most of all, it's hurting the developers of the game, because they probably could have really used the money to develop their new game, whatever that would be. And yeah, that makes me pretty sad. And that's one of the reasons we should highly, highly value our pre-liberal, oh, not pre-liberal, very liberal regimes in the West, and we need to protect them at all costs. Just so situations like these, and worse situations where it's not only about games, but it's about human rights, never arise. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for more gaming news, as we are your source of daily gaming news every single day. See you guys later with more gaming content.